Laura Loomer should be ashamed of herself. Just pushing these narratives, Muslim this, Muslim that, Islam this. Islam's the greatest threat to the West. It is not in the doctrine of Islam for Muslims to hate Christians or Jews. In their own books they wrote, we flourished under the Muslims. They had their own courts, their own judges. Oh, but you charge them a tax. Where are you not paying tax on earth right now? What are we paying as Americans? And they're going to talk about a 2.5% flat tax, which also meant that the Jews under that empire didn't have to fight in any war. Everywhere else, they were hunted down like animals. This is not about pushing anti-Jew. This is actually the opposite. This is you're pushing anti-Muslim propaganda to make it justifiable for what you're doing in the Middle East. You have radicals in every faith, and I condemn them. As someone that was underneath the World Trade Center the day it fell, I had my American flag out. I had tears streaming from my eyes as I walked over the Brooklyn Bridge as a 19-year-old man, and the world has never been the same again.
With Bek Lover, we just met through Sean Kelly, but you seem very interesting. We're having lots of interesting conversations before, so I'm like, let's hop on and do a last-minute podcast.
Jake, I appreciate you for having me on the show. There's so much going on right now in the world. Obviously, yesterday with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, there's just, I mean, the internet's on fire right now, and I feel like it's important for everyone to come together and sit down and have very difficult conversations, even with people they may be completely against, maybe even consider their enemy.
Yeah, I would
And
agree.
that, I think, is one of the greatest ideals of what America's supposed to stand for. The First Amendment, even with someone you don't agree with, being able to sit down with them and have a hard conversation, because when conversations stop, bullets fly.
I mean, I couldn't agree more. I'm just like, when that video was sent to me, I was just so disgusted and in shock. And, you know, Charlie Kirk's a guy that I've criticized. We were supposed to debate. We've also hung out as friends. I don't think he was a bad person, despite our disagreements. And I was just so disgusted and saddened yesterday.
I posted a video on my Instagram because when I saw the video, how could you not be shook into your core unless you've lost your humanity, even if you don't agree with someone?
Yeah.
What happened yesterday, as an American, I speak as an American first, I believe in the First Amendment. Even if someone is against me or their logic or their ideology is completely different from mine, I do believe everyone has the right as an American to express their opinion and that it shouldn't be silenced with a bullet.
I mean, I couldn't agree more. It's just the fact that anyone is defending this is absolutely disgusting. And I had some people attacking me like, oh, he's a Zionist, who cares? And you had people attacking you, I think you said.
Because I speak a lot about issues that involve Muslims. And I've tried to be someone in the middle to try to show all three religions why we're not enemies.
Yeah.
And it's not what the media has been telling you. It's not what Hollywood's been telling you for the last 75 years. It's actually a simple search. And you can see very quickly that these are lies that are pushed, misquoting books, misquoting your book, misquoting the Quran, taking things out of context and then fueling hatred. Now, Charlie was guilty of that in many ways. For the last month, I sat there and watched Charlie attacking my faith over and over again. I called him out on X. You can go see the post. But because I show an ounce of sympathy for what happened to him, and for me, what I was really weeping for in my video, which has gone crazy right now on Instagram, was an attack on the First Amendment. That was an attack on another content creator, public speaker. That could have been me. That could have been Jake Shields. That could have been Candace Owens. That could have been Nick Fuentes. Okay, that could have been anyone that's out there speaking about what they think is the truth or not the truth. Do I think some of these people might be paid by lobbies and stuff like that? That's a whole nother argument. But either way, as an American, all of us were attacked yesterday.
Yes.
If you don't understand that, then you don't understand the concept of free speech. I may not like what you have to say. I might actually hate it. You might even be speaking against my own people. If anyone gets it, I think as a Muslim American, I think I can get it. Since today is September 11th, I've lived my entire life in New York City. I was born in Texas. I grew up in New York. I was underneath the World Trade Center the day it was hit, Jake Shields.
Yeah.
I walked out from underneath those buildings. I was on probably the last train that ever went into the World Trade Center. I was 19 years old. So now imagine what I saw and what I experienced post 9/11 as a New Yorker. But because I'm not brown-skinned, because I'm not an Arab, I saw the hatred. F these Muslims. F their Allah. F this. F that. I understood why my fellow Americans' hearts were swollen. The world has never been the same since that day. But I think we can also see a lot of the bullshit that's happened. What did George Bush Jr. do after 9/11? We're going to take out the Taliban. Did we take out the Taliban?
Nope.
We've left them better than ever.
They have our
Weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. 1 million dead people In our name, brother. I speak as an American first. My cousin did 2 tours in Fallujah. He's Muslim. Shout out to Brian in Dallas, my cousin, who lost half his platoon in Fallujah. He was a Muslim American. Should we hate him? No. He risked his life. I've seen tears coming from him. He still battles PTSD to this day. And if I'm lying, may I never see a day. If I'm lying about him being my family that fought for this country, as a Muslim in Iraq, losing half of his battalion, I'm talking about when Fallujah was Fallujah. May what happened to Charlie Kirk happen to me if I'm lying, bro. What am I trying to do, Jake? Wake people up. We're being pulled into a global war.
They want us divided. Yep.
They're lighting every side on fire.
Black versus white, Christian versus Muslim. They're pushing the hate.
Gave her straight.
And it was chilling, as you know. I had probably 100 text messages and DMs. People like, oh, be careful, they're going to get you. And a couple death threats after that. It's like they are trying to send a chilling effect. It was done in broad daylight, on camera, displayed everywhere. And, you know, it looks kind of like a professional hit. I can't say for sure, but like, shot from 250 yards away. The guy had to get away. It definitely seems...
I mean, this is the sound of that gun. I'm no expert. Even the moment he's dying, they're talking about mass shootings. I mean, what are the odds of that?
The timing of that. The question asked.
What are the odds of that?
And there's the guy in the audience that, what was he saying? Acting like he was guilty.
Acting like a tough guy. His pants are falling down. I mean, it's like a circus, bro.
It just seemed almost like it was a setup. And I don't know enough to make that full on.
I would highly recommend all of us that are influencers and people that are speaking, people that are against me, people that are with me. I don't recommend doing any outdoor appearances at all. I think if you're going to host events where you're talking, you got to limit your risk at this day and age. We're not in a safe country anymore. You're not safe to express your opinion. We are being suppressed. People of the middle are being suppressed. And to think that there's not extremists on all sides, there are extremists in every single group, every single creed, whether it be a Christian, a Muslim, a Jew. To think that there's not radical Jews, you got to be out of your mind. Mm-hmm. But you also got to put yourself in their shoes. Not hard to radicalize. Been through hell, World War II. Atrocities happened. You got to be able, if you have any compassion in your heart, to try to understand where the hell people are coming from and why they might be the way they are. But the problem is right now, everyone's being funneled, pushed into echo chambers. I blame social media for that. And radicalizing these very extreme positions that we can't come to the table, like me and you, a Christian and a Muslim, and sit down and find the common ground. What is the common ground between Christians and Muslims? Let's start there.
I mean, I think there's a lot between Christians and Muslims. The religion, Allah means God.
In the Arabic.
They both
in
love
Hebrew,
and adore Jesus.
Yes, in Hebrew, Ilah, or the plural, the royal plural, Elohim. And in Aramaic, the language of Christ, Allah. It's literally a cognate, a word that is the same in 3 religions. If you watch the movie Passion of the Christ, made by Mel Gibson, I actually got to meet the brother. I worked with his brother for Marriott. His brother played Jesus Christ, Jim Caviezel. I worked with his brother. I actually got to meet the guy that played Jesus in the movie. In that movie, you'll even hear Jesus Christ in Aramaic saying, Bida koshta, bi Allah. Literally the same word. But since 9/11, the amount of galvanization, which in my opinion has been to alienate, to create Islamophobia, to create hatred towards Arabs, which by the way are only 19% of Muslims. Only 19% of Muslims are Arabic.
That's interesting because in America they act like it's all Arabs and 19%. Because I guess there's Africans, there's the Russian ones.
Asians are one of the biggest groups.
Yeah,
Indians,
Indonesians,
Pakistanis, Bangladeshis. Indonesia is the most densely populated Muslim country on earth. What army?
Yeah, they make it sound like it's all Arabs in America. That's so interesting. 19%. That's insane.
What has my message been since day one? I understand sometimes my words get taken out of context. I know you know that also.
Oh, yeah.
They'll put a clip that makes you look like you hate a certain people or you hate a whole group of people. Mm-hmm. So just my background in a few seconds. I'm an Albanian American. My grandmother's 2 brothers were hung by the SS in northern Albania. My 2 great uncles, 16 and 18 years old, were hung off trees during World War II by the SS, the Nazis, because first Albania was under Mussolini, the fascists, then the Germans took control of Albania. What is Albania famous for during World War II? A country, and I'm very proud of my people. Albanians, first of all, are the most pro-American people on earth. There's not a single people more pro-American than the Albanians.
Really?
We have streets named after U.S. presidents. We have statues after our presidents. The highway in Kosovo, which many Albanians consider a piece of northern Albania, it was a part of Albania that we say was absorbed into Yugoslavia after the fall of the Ottoman Empire. It's named Bo Biden Highway, not because Albanians necessarily over there understand the complexities of politics and right or left. It's done to show respect to this country that saved us from extermination. When the Ottoman Empire collapsed, Albania lost 70% of its territory. We would have been wiped out like the Kurds and been a people with no home. But Woodrow Wilson stopped that. If it wasn't for Woodrow Wilson, we would have been destroyed. So we're a very pro-American country, but during World War II, we're about 60-70% Muslim. We also have a very strong Catholic population. Mother Teresa is one of our daughters. Mother Teresa is Albanian. I don't know if you know that.
I didn't know that, no.
Okay, and we also have an Orthodox population. I am so proud of Albanians because even though we've been in the crossroads of all the empires, we never allowed religion to destroy ourselves amongst each other.
We have been major religious fighting there?
Never killed each other over religion. And during World War II, my people, including Christians, Christian Albanians, saved every single Jewish refugee that came to Albania's lands. It's the only country in Europe that not a single Jew died.
Interesting.
In a majority Muslim country.
Well, there was lots of Jews living in the Muslim countries before Israel was created. It was like all over Iraq, Iran. A lot of them didn't want to immigrate to Israel. I believe it was Iraq. Mossad came and started bombing the Jewish population, acting like it was the Muslims to get them to immigrate.
I'm not an expert on all of that, but what I do know, Jake, there is an agenda by people like Laura Loomer. There was an agenda. I don't know if he did it on purpose or he just didn't have the knowledge of people like Charlie Kirk this last month, just pushing these narratives, Muslim this, Muslim that, Islam this, Islam's the greatest threat to the West, responding to these tweets. Yes. And then we look at the history. Is it in the doctrine of Islam? Is it in the doctrine of Islam to hate Christians and Jews? Is it in the doctrine of Islam to call Christians and Jews infidels? The answer is no. They quote the media, so start asking who controls the media and why they might push this narrative. They have led us to believe since this day, 24 years ago, on 9/11, that Muslims want to wipe out Christians and Jews. Mm-hmm. And we consider them infidels. And kill the non-believers wherever you find them. And they use verses completely out of context. What does Islam say about Christians and Jews? They are called people of the book. Those who received revelation before the final book. Mm-hmm. Muslims believe the Torah is the Old Testament, the book of Moses, the Psalms of David, and then the gospel of Jesus Christ. And then we believe the Quran is the final testament of God. That's what we believe. In that book, God said, there is no harm upon the Christians or the Jews. If you follow the revelation I sent you, then even salvation, right, is promised to you. If you're following actually what Jesus brought, if you're following what Moses brought, and you keep that covenant that I gave with you, this is what the book says. If Islam was the enemy of Judaism, because that's the reason I felt so compelled to speak about this. They're using this narrative to justify everything that's been happening over the last 75 years. And
most of these people are atheists. Most of them don't even practice Judaism. Most of the Jews that are pushing are mostly atheists.
Laura Loomer should be ashamed of herself. The religion that literally, and it's not to pick on my Christian brothers and sisters, but history is history. They were hunted down throughout Europe. Christian kingdoms wiped them out, burned them at the stake. Look it up. If I'm lying, drop the comments. I'm not.
Yeah, I don't know enough about the history.
Okay?
So.
Yes, the Muslims controlled Spain for almost 500-600 years, whatever it was. They're still the most Catholic country in the world. If it was to force people to conversion, the Muslims could have done that in Spain. They didn't do it. When the Christians regained control, and I don't believe the Muslims should have invaded Spain. I don't think they were operating by Islam, in my opinion. We were commanded by the Prophet Muhammad to not oppress and not be oppressed. The book says it too. I don't believe that the Hagia Sophia should have been converted into a mosque when the Ottoman Empire took over.
At least they didn't burn it down. That's such a beautiful.
Still, I don't think they should have converted it into a mosque.
I agree with you.
Because if they didn't, guess what? The head of orthodoxy today would still be in Muslim lands.
But that is such a beautiful blue mosque right by it. You go to those two buildings, I remember.
And you get a hair transplant real quick too.
I'll go do that next time.
You got to take Turkish hairlines, bro.
Get my hair back.
Turkish hairlines, bro.
I remember walking into those same buildings in the same day, and you're like, wow, man, they built these buildings for God. I was like maybe atheist, agnostic back at the time, and you realize you can kind of feel the power of God in those buildings. You walk both of them. You walk in, you're like, wow, like humans did this for a greater power. It's just. They're magnificent. We don't build buildings like that anymore. I mean, you've probably been there, right? It's just
I've been to Topaki and all that. I went there. The traffic in Istanbul is crazy.
Yeah, that
insane.
Sucks. But such a
worse than New York ever was.
Such a beautiful city. It's really important that you mentioned, Charlie Kirk had bashed Muslims a lot, but you were still praying for him. It just shows you have a heart, and you had people attacking you for that. That's just disgusting that people would attack you for having a heart, that like he wasn't a bad man. Maybe, we both had disagreements with him.
I understand why some people's hearts are swollen because, he's pushing for the narrative of what's happening in Gaza is justified.
Oh, yeah.
As somebody that lost his family in war, I lost 28 people in the Kosovo War. My family was killed. First cousins, my uncle that I loved more than anybody, Din, in the village of Hereć, Kosovo. I know what it's like to be 14 years old and find out, on a phone call that your family got taken out.
Yeah. It's just,
okay, I know what it's like.
His family was there.
My family was killed by Serbian Orthodox Christians who also went to war with the Bosnians, right? There's videos of them being blessed by Christian monks before battle and whatever. And of course, you're going to pray before you go into war. So what I'm saying is, in my entire life, I'm a public person. I never once blamed Christianity for my family being killed. Yeah. I never once heard a Bosnian, who I have many friends that are Bosnian, blame Christianity for what happened in Srebrenica, where 8,000 young men and boys that were unarmed went to United Nations safe zone. You're safe here. The UN is here. This is all on YouTube. Go look it up. The World Army couldn't stop a massacre of 2 weeks of unarmed men and boys that they still won't call the G word that rhymes with pesticide, because we can't even say certain words because we're not free as Americans.
No, exactly. Like
there needs to be an amendment to the U.S. Constitution that social media is the new public square because of its influence, because it is not protected. There can't be any messing around with algorithms. It should be mandatory. No algorithms, whatever the people push.
I strongly agree.
That's true free speech, because we've seen it has the power to topple empires, to create color revolutions, to lead to madness, and it has become weaponized. And just getting back to the point, brother, it is not in the doctrine of Islam for Muslims to hate Christians or Jews. They have a protected class. And I will scream at the top of my lungs, I'm willing to lose my life to say this. Because you know I am risking my life by saying it. Am I not?
Yeah, unfortunately we are. They want to say,
but I don't come.
But I don't want to die, but I'm willing to. It's just,
the Romans.
You can't live as a coward.
The Romans destroyed the last temple that the Israelites had in Jerusalem. It wasn't the Muslims. It wasn't the Arabs. The Muslims didn't push the Jews out. It was actually the opposite. After the Muslims got control of Jerusalem, there was the Pact of Omar. I dare you to look it up. And he found not a single Jew in Jerusalem. What did he command? The king of one of the most powerful empires at the time. How come there's no Jews here? Second king after the Prophet Muhammad. First was Abu Bakr, then it was Omar al-Khattab. I dare you to read his life. Here's the history of Islam from its foundation. I don't care what people have done in the past. I'm going back to source. Yeah. I'm going back to the Prophet Muhammad and the closest to him. What did Omar say? What do you mean there's no Jews here? Sir, they've been wiped out. They're gone. Bring me 80 families immediately. If I'm lying, I'll never talk again. Google it right now. ChatGPT it right now. And then I'm going to sit here and listen to people like Laura Loomer pushing this agenda that Islam is the enemy of Judaism when they were massacred everywhere else, wiped out. Did the Muslims do the Inquisition? No. What did they do? They left Europe and went back to the Muslims. If Muslims hated Jews, why was the second most powerful person under the Ottoman Empire a Jewish prime minister by the name of Maimonides? I can't even say the name right. Maimonds. Look it up. In their own books they wrote, we flourished under the Muslims. They had their own courts, their own judges. Oh, but you charge them a tax. Where are you not paying tax on earth right now? And how much was the tax, Jake? Do you know?
You told me earlier.
2.5%.
Like, I wish I paid that.
What are we paying as Americans? Up to 40% without sales tax, property tax, state income tax. I live in New York City. I'm paying $10,000 a year in tolls for roads that are already paid for. I'm paying parking on roads that I paid to build already.
Insane.
And they're going to talk about a 2.5% flat tax, which also meant that the Jews under that empire didn't have to fight in any war. Everywhere else, they were hunted down like animals. This is not about pushing anti-Jew. This is actually the opposite. This is you're pushing anti-Muslim propaganda to make it justifiable for what you're doing in the Middle East. It's not the religion. You have radicals in every faith, and I condemn them. As someone that was underneath the World Trade Center the day it fell, I had my American flag out. I had tears streaming from my eyes as I walked over the Brooklyn Bridge as a 19-year-old man, and the world has never been the same again. And not only was I a victim that day, but then I had to listen to everything that came with it after it. Muslim this, Muslim that. Poor Sikhs were pulled out of cars. People are so stupid, they're pulling Sikhs out of cabs and stabbing them to death.
Jesus.
And we've never been the same as a nation. But I ask yourselves, am I lying? What did all these wars bring the American people except
debt?
$40 trillion, which I don't think we're ever going to pay back. I think that the clock is ticking. We're all being pushed into a new order with cryptocurrency that so many of you, you're making money for now. Enjoy it. As you build your prison for tomorrow, Christians and Muslims are not enemies. And this is how simple we can fix it once and for all. Yeah. We both believe he's the Messiah, Jake. Mm-hmm. We both believe he's coming back to earth. Yeah. When he comes back to earth, he can tell us, you were right, Christian. You were wrong, Muslim. Mm-hmm. Christian, you were wrong, Muslim. We both believe he's coming back. I think right now we have a bigger fire to worry about. People that are pushing godlessness. People that are pushing agendas against the creator. A boy should chop his wee-wee off. It's okay. Okay?
Yeah, that's demonic.
Going against the creator. Pushing filth. pushing usury interest, which is against Christ also. Christ flipped the table. Jesus Christ in the Bible flipped the table over because they were charging interest. How much interest you paying on your credit cards? Blood money.
Like, yeah, it's almost 30%. It's
30% unpayable.
It's insane, yeah.
Okay? We've been plunged into debt. You got to blame someone.
Yeah, the mortgages, the credit cards, the debt. I just want to add real quick back to...
And I'm sorry, man. I know I'm ranting. My heart is swollen, brother. Today's a hard day for me, man. No, because of Charlie, because of 9/11.
You know, no, it's tough. But just you mentioned these Muslim countries. I've actually been to a lot of these countries, and I was treated the best I've ever been. People invite me to their home for tea. I was there on Christmas. I was cooked a Christmas cake and brought presents. That's Jesus' birthday, but like they don't celebrate it, but they celebrated it for me just because I was a guest. It's like the hospitality is unreal. And everyone, because I defend Palestine, I get these dumbasses being like, these people hate you. It's like, no, they don't. So many strangers invite me. In America, I don't get invited to strangers' homes to drink tea and discuss politics.
The Virgin Mary is the most important woman in the religion of Islam. She has her own chapter. We're not allowed to disrespect Jesus Christ the way a lot of filmmakers are these days. They got Nicolas Cage. I guess his career is that finished. He's that cooked. That I, as a Muslim, have to watch a commercial about a horror film coming out that's going to portray Jesus Christ as a monster. I'm offended. I know my Christian brothers and sisters are too, but my point is this. We're not enemies. I understand things happened. I understand there was rotten rulers and corrupt kings, and towards the end of the Ottoman Empire, corrupt sultans.
Yeah, there's bad Christians, there's bad Muslims, there's bad Jews.
The Ottoman Turks, they were violent with my people. We fought them. We resisted them. Eventually, they conquered us. A lot of us converted to their faith because it was just easier and you could rise up the ranks. A lot of Albanians got a lot of power during that time. But they did commit atrocities. They did take our children and send them to Istanbul and force them to convert to Islam. That's not Islam's fault. Chapter 2 of the Holy Quran says, there is no compulsion in religion. There is no force because it defeats the purpose. If I got to put a sword to your throat to make you believe in what I believe in, then that's not true faith.
Not belief, yeah.
And God says it in the book. Yet all you hear on the news is infidel this, infidel that. Every time the word infidel is mentioned in the Quran, it's talking about the pagan Arabs that were trying to exterminate the Prophet Muhammad and the first Christians. And when they're using the verse in the news where it says, and kill the non-believers wherever you find them, that's actually God not commanding the Muslims. He's commanding the angels at the Battle of Badr where they're outnumbered 3-1. So God says in the Quran, I sent angels down and commanded them to destroy your opponents. It was a miracle. They were outnumbered. There was no way they could have won. It doesn't say, kill the Christian, chop their neck. It's actually God commanding the angels to take out the pagan Arabs that were trying to wipe out the first Muslims. Yeah. What actually happened was during that time of oppression, because the last thing the actions did in their inception, the Prophet did was command to fight back. But after over a decade of persecution, being murdered by their own family, by their own tribes for declaring there's only one God, he ordered a very large group of his followers to go to ancient Abyssinia, which is today modern Ethiopia. There was a righteous Christian king known as the Negus, Negus. Okay, your stupid minds. That's the word. He was the righteous Christian king that the first Muslims sought refuge in. And when the pagan Arabs came to wipe out, they wanted the Muslims because they had like an alliance.
Yeah.
He said, wait, we believe in Jesus too. We believe he's the Messiah. He's like, you will not touch these men. Yeah, we don't agree, but you will not lay a single hand. He could have gave them up and kept the friendly relations. Instead, he protected the Muslims. Yet you've never heard that story, probably.
No, I haven't.
So if the Christian is the infidel in Islam, why would the Prophet Muhammad command his followers to go seek protection to the Christian?
Okay, Pausum, I don't know if this one's, I'll just read it. I haven't read it yet. Pausums, it's 137:9. Blessed is thee who seizes your infants and dashes them against the rocks. It is not a holy book. Your God's, okay, this guy's, I guess, like talking crap. But
yeah, but which book is that? You see what I'm saying? But it can be out of context, bro.
I think there might be another negative one, but whatever. I'll just read them anyways.
Listen, anything out of context.
You think a shady voice telling you to sacrifice your child is worth worshiping? You are the problem. Every Abrahamic religion does. I guess he's bashing all Abrahamic religions.
Yeah, they're bashing
it's
Abraham. Just, God didn't let Abraham sacrifice his son. It was the ultimate test. It was the ultimate test. Why? Because Abraham couldn't have a son.
Yeah, no, even if you don't believe
he prayed to God.
You don't need to bash them. That's kind of my take. I mean, everyone doesn't have to be religious, but to sit there and bash the religion seems kind of...
First of all, he didn't let the sacrifice go through, right? He replaced it with a lamb, but it was the ultimate test because it was the one thing that Abraham loved the most. He wanted a successor. God gave it to him. But it was also a lesson to all of us that follow the Abrahamic faith that even your own child is a gift from God or a test because your kid could be the worst thing that ever happened to you.
Yeah.
Right? I'm sure Jeffrey Dahmer's mom was like, man, why did I have...
Jesus, that's disgusting to think about
nothing is yours, not even your child. Everything has come from the Creator. So that test to Abraham was, do you really believe in me? Prove it by giving back the one, because it was a gift. I gave it to you, send it back to me. And when he actually went through with it, nothing happened because he's not a God of blood sacrifice and all that stuff. He is a merciful Lord, but that was a very challenging test from one of his, and that's why God blessed him and gave him lineage to the Israelites and the Arabs, because the Prophet Muhammad comes from the other side, the side of Ishmael. He gave two sides revelation. That's what the Muslims believe. We believe that the Israelites weren't chosen like they're the only people that are saved, because that's not a merciful God.
Yeah.
12 million, 9 billion, that's not a merciful God.
No, that doesn't make sense.
It was, they were chosen to receive revelation. And the Muslims believe when they killed John the Baptist and then they tried to crucify, we don't believe he died on the cross. We believe God saved him. That's the only difference.
Interesting.
And you guys believe he's God or the Son of God.
You believe he's
Those
a
are the
prophet.
two differences that we believe. We believe he was just another prophet in the chain. We believe that when they did not accept the Messiah, Jesus Christ, peace and blessings be upon him, revelation went from the other side of Abraham to the other side. So it went from the Israelites. The final testament was passed through the Arabs. Still direct lineage to the prophet Abraham, peace be upon him. But Abraham was blessed because of that test and because of his relationship to God. All the prophets came from that lineage.
Yeah, I want to circle back one more, a little off topic, but I want to go with just one more question about Charlie Kirk before we move on. I mean, we hop into religion again, but do you think that was a professional hit?
I mean, it's pretty obvious, bro.
Yeah, it kind of seems that way, right?
I mean, do you understand what it is? Like, how many people were even there on stage for that bullet not to, like, I mean, it was like such an amazing shot. I mean, listen, I'm not a military expert.
Right in the jugular, one shot.
I mean, I went shooting with my wife like a couple months ago in Dallas, bro. I didn't even hit the target, dude. Like, I was horrific.
No, I'm not a great shot, so I don't know.
I was hard. I'm close. Close.
I was 50 yards. That's 2.5 football fields. That's pretty far. I know some of these military guys are like, oh, that's an easy shot. But it's like, yeah, you're trained. That's kind of the point.
That's the whole point.
That's the whole point. No, maybe these guys are trying to sound cool. Like, oh, that's an easy shot. It's like, yeah,
I couldn't hit a target in front of me.
Or a serious
in front of me, even if it was close, let's say. That's still a hard shot to pull off.
The first couple of times I went shooting, I'm still not great. But yeah, it's like embarrassing. It's like you're so off the scopes. Plus, there were several people there that seemed like they were there deliberately to distract. Like you said earlier, the guy was asking about the shooting. The other guy.
Just very, very strange, man. Very, very strange. I think it was a message to everybody. I think the Second Amendment is under full attack. My family was killed because they did not have the right to bear arms. My family died in the Kosovo War because their government that was ruling them, which was Yugoslavia Milosevic regime, decided to do what they did to the Bosnians. We tried to get freedom for 30 years. Not even freedom. That's another argument I'll make. All we wanted, because there was Tito. Tito Marshall was the ruler of Yugoslavia, okay? We started in the 80s because we were starting to get our rights stripped away under their country. We never asked for independence. We were asking for our autonomy to be restored because Tito actually gave the Albanians their own autonomy to live within Yugoslavia. They kind of were allowed to self-govern a little bit. After he passed away, the Milosevic regime rose and they stripped us of all of our rights. And we still weren't asking for independence. We were asking just to have the rights restored that we had under Tito. And we did, this is all documented. Type in Pristina, Kosovo, type in Kosovo demonstrations. For 30 years, we followed the teachings of Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. King. We tried civil disobedience. We were beaten, murdered, expelled from all of the work, not allowed to stay out past 8 o'clock. We were under strict, similar to what Gazans have gone to, West Bank. We were under that type of control. The world left us out of the Dayton Accords when the Bosnian War came to an end. Even though we resisted peacefully, they left us off the table.
What year was the Bosnian War?
It was like the early 90s. I believe it ended 95 or 96.
Young, but it didn't get, it doesn't seem it got that much. I wasn't really following news, but it doesn't seem it got that much coverage.
They had an arms embargo on the Bosnians while they're just being annihilated, rounding them up. There was camps where they were doing, what type of things
the UN
to women.
Just sit back and did nothing, kind of like they're doing right now with Gaza.
And we were trying to get our rights recognized peacefully, and we go look at the video: beaten, killed, thrown into prison. Okay, to take what so many of you Americans take for granted, which is your First Amendment and your Second Amendment. My family's dead because they didn't have the right to bear arms. And I believe Charlie Kirk lost his life for that. The minute he's speaking about mass shootings, this, that. You know what the American people should be talking about?
What's that?
Why are we not demanding full toxicology reports on every mass shooter? I'll bet my life there's a common denominator. What's in their blood? Listen to the commercials on TV. If you're taking such and such and you're experiencing thoughts, call your doctor immediately. You got 300 million people. 1 out of 5 Americans is, or 12, what is it? 1 out of 5, 1 out of 12 is on antidepressants, SSRs. And if you think there's not a direct, I've been saying this for years. You're more worried about giving away the only right you have to protect your freedom, your right to live. You don't know what it's like when your government turns on you and wants to exterminate you, eradicate you. You put your trust in the hands. You don't think
I don't trust my government.
You don't think tyrants rise up all the time? That's the only truth in history.
All throughout history.
Oh, let me give up all the rights to defend my family. And just like Irina Yarutska, we were talking about.
Yeah, that was just...
What did she do to deserve to be taken out?
Nothing.
Did he use a gun?
No.
Did he use a gun?
A knife.
Do the guys that drive in with trucks and go into crowds, do they need a gun?
No.
Evil's evil. Evil will always find a way. And that doesn't mean good people should give up their right, their God-given right, their American-given right, which has already been under attack for the last 20, 30 years. You have a right to bear arms in this country. You have a right to defend your home, your property. These are also God-given rights.
I couldn't agree more. And people don't understand. You mentioned the West Bank earlier.
My family was in communism.
Yeah, a lot of people don't even know the West Bank is different than Gaza. They don't have Hamas there, and they just get like beaten, attacked, kicked out of their homes, just constantly abused, their animals killed. Even in Gaza, they tried doing peaceful protests. I think it was in maybe 2014. I could have the years wrong, where they were trying to do peaceful protests. They just got shot over and over with snipers.
I don't know how that's all going to end, but I will be damned if I sit back and let people use my faith as a tool to justify which is not justifiable. Women and children. Okay, if a Muslim blows up a building, may he burn in fucking hell. They blew up two, supposedly, allegedly, right? Took down the buildings today. Some people are questioning that. I'm not getting into.
I'm very
let's just say we stick to the official story.
Yeah.
May they burn in eternal hell. The punishment for suicide in Islam under any condition is eternal hellfire. Yeah. Did you know that? You're not getting 72 virgins. If you blow yourself up, even if you're surrounded by the enemy, you go into the fires of hell. Do you know why?
Why?
Because we believe in a concept called the wisdom of God, or as the Muslims call it, the qadr of Allah, meaning the knowledge that only God possesses. So even if I'm on a battlefield and I'm completely surrounded by the enemy and I'm like, I'm going to die no matter what. If I kill myself, I go to hell. Why do I go to hell? Because maybe those soldiers weren't going to kill me. Maybe it was God's wisdom that they're going to take me prisoner. I live and then I get out. That's number one. Or number two, they are going to take me prisoner. I'm going to be tortured to death. But through that torture, especially if I'm innocent, especially if I'm on the right side of history, through that torture, I'll be purged of my sins. It might be a way of God purifying my soul. I suffer here, not on the day of judgment. And number three, women and children are strictly forbidden. Even trees have rights in the religion of Islam.
Interesting, I didn't know that.
During warfare. So a leader is responsible for every living subject under them. So if he even cuts down a tree without justification, that tree will testify against him on the day of judgment.
I have a good controversial question for you.
Go ahead.
England, they have these Pakistani grooming gangs that came through.
Round them up. If they are caught, convicted, proven to have done these crimes, give them the Islamic punishment, execution.
Yeah, good.
You want to take out, that's Islam.
Yeah, it's just.
But using my religion, you got to be fair too. How come you're not calling out the Catholic Church? 700,000 children, 700,000 cases. Google it.
No, that's absolutely disgusting.
Where's your anger for that? The Anglican Church, the head bishop just stepped down. Where's your anger for that? Now, do I understand the ordinary British person? My country's being this open border politics. I'm against open borders.
Yeah, it's insanity.
But I'm also against hypocrisy. What did the British Empire do for hundreds of years?
Take over and colonize
India
country.
Starved millions of people on purpose. King Leopold of Belgium, 10 million Africans wiped out. So when do you want to start the clock of what's right and what's wrong? I'm not for open borders, not in Britain, not in America. You got hypocrites like Dominik Tarczewski of Poland. I'm so glad that we not let one Muslim into our country. Well, why would they even have to come in your country if you didn't send 2,000 soldiers from Poland to destabilize Iraq on weapons of mass destruction lies that we all know now were lies?
Yeah.
So you help bomb these people,
Pushed by Benjamin Netanyahu.
destabilize their country, okay? Create them into refugees. Now you're mad that they're flooding on your shores. I got it real simple. Stop bombing them up. By the way, you propped up most of these dictators after the fall of the caliphate. You put in Assad, the new head of Syria. They all said he's a former ISIS member. ISIS killed more Muslims than anyone else. So why is he propped up? Well, now Muslims are killing Christians in Syria. Who put the guy in power?
CIA,
Who put
CIA
the new
Mossad.
guy in power? He's known to be a former ISIS member, and you're talking about us? You should be looking in the mirror. We all been played. Muslims been played. Christians been played. Jews have been played. My grandmother's bells were hung by Nazis. I have first cousins that are Jewish. I have friends I grew up with. I love them with all my heart. I am in a very uncomfortable position. I went to school with Russian Jews, bro. I love them. I love them with all my heart. I don't blame their religion. But to think there's not radicals all around, there is.
Yeah. 100%.
And radicalism makes more radicalism. More violence makes more violence. And people are becoming desensitized. So I told people when it goes back to Charlie Kirk, if you don't understand why I had a tear or why I was weeping for humanity, bro, I was weeping for everyone from that child in Gaza to him, because people are losing their lives over radicalism, ideology, and propaganda. That's why I wept in that video.
It's a very dangerous thing. The amount of people cheering that on, it made me absolutely sick. It's very,
You don't think I thought for a second that's me next?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay, I'm not even on his level.
Yeah,
okay?
But the amount of people like telling me, "Oh, you need security, this and that."
Let it be done. Then. If I die speaking the truth, then I guess I follow my great grandfather. May he rest in peace. He died for freedom, bro. He was killed in battle. His statue stands all over Albania. I guess I'll lose my life, like my cousins and my uncles that were willing, that just wanted to be free, that so many Americans take for granted. My family lost their life to be free in 1998, brother. The youngest member in that village was only 5 years old. They chopped his head off.
Disgusting.
Okay, the pictures are on my wall. So the hardest thing I had to learn, Jake, if I sat here and told you that I didn't hate all Serbians at one point in my life, I would be lying to you. I didn't even want to sit at the table. So I understand where these people are coming from. You get it?
Yeah.
Because I was them.
But you don't want hate in your heart, I have some people that mad at me that I have like
New
Jewish
York
friends.
City is a beautiful place. It was a beautiful place, so they destroyed it. New York City forces you to meet everybody.
It does.
You can never go all over the whole world, but you can find the whole world in New York.
It's the most international
And
city.
I had to deal with Serbians. And some of them didn't agree with what happened. And they were like, I understand it. And they understand the global agenda, which most of these leaders in our countries have been put in power by outside their borders. And yes, traditionally we were enemies with the Serbs. But I met plenty of Serbs that have woken up also. They realize the game's on us. Us back and forth killing each other. The only people that are winning are all these leaders. Our sons and daughters are dying, just like if a war with Iran tomorrow breaks out. They won't send their sons, the senators in the Congress. Trump won't send his son, who's of draftable age, but your sons and daughters will go. Just like my cousin went because of what happened on this day 24 years ago. 2 tours in Fallujah. He didn't ask, was it Muslim? Not Muslim. He said, I'm American. My country was attacked, and he, in my opinion, was used.
Yeah, no, I agree.
For corporate feudalism.
And you say you don't want to get into that being an inside job or not, that you want to avoid that.
I'd rather, brother, it's a very offensive day. I feel bad for the people that lost their family. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of questions about building number 7 that'll never go away. Mm-hmm. I didn't even know about building number 7 until years later.
Wild, right?
Okay, that shit does not make sense, never made sense, will never make sense. Free fall, perfectly collapse. But there's plenty of engineers and architects who also agree it's very fishy. Very fishy, doesn't make sense.
No, I had an architect on who was he's strictly from an architectural standpoint. He's been studying it, and it's thousands of architects agree and signed on. He said thousands more tell them they agree. They're just scared to sign on because being called conspiracy theorists. And he broke it down from architectural, and it just seems crazy
that Muslims and Christians and Jews believe in Moses. Let's leave Jesus. I love Jesus. You love Jesus in our own way. Let's leave him on the side for a second. 10 Commandments. We all believe in those 10 Commandments. We have to. You can't say you're a Christian or a Jew or a Muslim and not believe in the 10 Commandments. What does the 10 Commandments say, basically? There's only one God. Don't kill unless defending.
Yeah.
Don't kill. Don't take what's not yours. Don't sleep with what's not yours. I promise you, if we follow those 10 rules, God made it so simple for us idiots. 10 rules and this world would be heaven on earth. Don't bear false testimony. That's what propaganda is. Making up lies so you can demonize the people you want to wipe out. That's what propaganda is.
Yeah.
Okay?
They want to dehumanize. It's always about dehumanizing.
It's because we don't follow the 10 Commandments. And I believe most of the people that call the shots on this earth are Satanists. They're not Jewish, Muslim, or Christian.
And yeah, you're probably right.
All right? They don't believe in God. I believe they are aligned with the demonic realm. They are aligned with Satan himself, bro. I believe they worship him. I believe they sold their souls. I believe there's enough evidence out there to prove it. You got places like Bohemian, you know what? You think it's normal for 65, 70-year-old men to dress up in cloaks and pray in front of a statue?
And burn mullah.
Okay.
It's like insane.
And do mock rituals?
Yeah, they're doing this.
Okay, you study the life of people like Aleister Crowley?
I've read about him a little bit. It's
all right.
insane.
And then you look at the technological leap is nothing. There's no aliens, Jake Shields. We are the aliens.
Yeah, it's like
we're the ones that were cast out.
Beings.
They were on this earth before us, Jake Shields. You can call them Anunnaki. You can call them aliens. I'll tell you what you call them if you believe in God. Demons. That's what the fuck you call
That's
them.
what I realized. It's always been, some people call them demons, some Anunnaki, some aliens, but it's always the same. There's these demonic creatures, sometimes good angels.
You believe you're a child of Adam. And this also ties into Charlie Kirk. Even the Prophet Muhammad, even Jesus, right? In the book, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. What does that mean? It means even my enemy, forgive them, because they don't have the knowledge that I do. How can you be someone that says they believe in God? And if you know that someone's on the wrong path and they're going to probably go to hell because they're doing the wrong thing, if you understand the concept of hellfire and you understand the concept of infinity, even for your worst enemy, you would actually feel bad.
Yeah.
If you understand what that means. I can't hold the match for 2 seconds, bro. We all believe in the same punishments, hellfire, a day of judgment, a day where we were asked about our actions on this earth. I never understood the billionaires, bro. I love capitalism.
Yeah,
with
making
rules
money,
and ethics.
but people just get downright greedy.
Are you that bored, you guys? Billions of dollars. You have nothing else to do except play with humanity like chess pieces, create wars, destruction. All of Europe, negative birth rate. That's another thing. Getting back to the UK thing.
Yeah.
Why are you? First of all, the history of Europe wasn't too great in the last 100, 200 years as far as colonialism, the things they did. You got to be fair.
Yeah.
The last 25 years, you destabilized the entire Middle East. Should the borders be open? No. Do I think you should just no, because I want a Britain where I see British.
Yeah, it should stay mostly the people of the country. That's my opinion. I'm not like 100% immigration, but there's
That's the same
wrong.
thing. I would want Congo to be Congo.
Yeah.
I would want
China should mostly be China. Japan should mostly be Japanese. And it's weird. There's been this heavy push in all white countries that they can't have white countries, and that's just a little bit weird.
Well, like I said, man, there's agendas.
It's clearly an agenda.
But I could tell you what needs to be done in Europe, but they won't listen. You been to Europe, brother?
Yeah.
You seen the red light districts with your own eyes? I'm not saying you went to them. Did you walk past them?
Yeah,
because I have.
Like in, especially in Amsterdam. And
so you allow this immoral shit to happen. Okay. Divorce rate is through the roof. Men don't want to get married. It is cheaper to sleep with a woman who sells herself in Germany than it is to have dinner.
That's what's wild.
So why get married?
So expensive. Yeah, exactly.
Muslims are not causing the negative birth rate in Europe, right?
They're having lots
Those
of kids.
demographics are shifting anyway. The majority population after Germans in Germany is Turks, but they didn't come there. They were actually invited because after World War II was so destroyed, they brought in a large influx of Turks to rebuild the country. So you find the second largest population of Turks anywhere in the world in Germany. Some of the best Turkish food ever, bro. It's better than Istanbul.
Really, I've actually never been to Germany. I've been to most of Europe. For some reason, I've never been to Germany.
Yeah, but they're very open. So you've had an attack. You've had an attack on the family structure, which is the same thing that happened to us in America. Okay, we're seeing the direct correlation. I've dubbed this generation of people the bastard generation.
Yeah.
The reason Irina Zertovsky lost her life, okay? I don't know if he was, but 90% of violent crime is committed from single-parent homes. Fatherless homes. Because you guys think it's just a sexual act. Couple minutes. We're seeing what a generation of lust has created. Because we have broken the commandments of God in all three of our religions. Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Having premarital sex, sex for fun, sex for sale, OF, this, that. And now you're seeing what we sowed, as the Bible says. You shall reap what you sow. And all these children are born out of lust, not love. And deadly sins have deadly repercussions, Jake Shields.
I think his father's in prison.
Generation of bastards. We are witnessing their rage, which, by the way, was one of the prophecies the prophet gave.
Really?
He said towards the end of time, the children born out of wedlock, bastards, will be so full of rage because it's an oppression for a child not to have his parents.
Yeah, they need both parents, and it's just it's so wrong. That's
and
like
there's been an attack on the father in this country. Fathers have no rights. They're always the bad guy in court.
So it makes men not want to have kid.
I have a friend, I didn't even want to mention his name. It was national news. He struggled with drugs. I worked with him as a coworker. I never understood why he was so talented because I used to work in sales. He would come in drunk all the time, and he was doing heavy drugs, and I was trying to get him off the stuff, and I didn't know what had happened. Someone else told me. He kept going to the police and saying, my ex-wife is going to kill my kid. I'm telling you, my kid's in danger, my kid's in danger, my kid's in danger, my kid's in danger.
No one would listen.
They brushed him off. She blew his brains out, blew her brains out. He was on CNN, Fox News, like 15 years ago. I never questioned him about his drinking ever again.
God damn, that's just
okay. This type of shit is
sick.
happening all day because men have been emasculated. The father has no rights.
Yeah,
we live in a generation of lust, and we are seeing. That's why Irina's dead, brother. She's dead because we are all suffering from the bastard generation.
Yeah,
it's not just blacks. It's not just Hispanics. if you look, it doesn't matter. The ratio will always be the same. 90%, regardless of skin color, race, comes from what? Single parent homes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a huge problem.
What do we do?
About.
What do? We glorify people like Cardi B. Come in, I get some money. That's what they're teaching your daughters. Come in, I get some money. That's the role model for your daughter.
Right.
Then you want to talk about Muslims oppress their women. Yeah. Really?
Mossad behind 9/11 and Charlie Kirk assassination. AIPAC runs Congress. Well, AIPAC runs Congress.
I think all lobbying should be illegal.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
All lobbying.
Not even just
I don't care if it's Muslims trying to lobby, Albania trying to lobby, China illegal.
Yes.
Illegal.
This should be common fucking
Look
sense.
up the definition of bribery. Look up the definition of lobbying and tell me what the fuck is the
I want to take it a step further. Not even all foreign lobbying. I think all like lobbying. Why should the drug companies be able to lobby? Yeah.
Illegal. You want to fix America? Term limits, lobbying, transparent elections.
Yeah.
Protect the Constitution at all costs, even for the people you can't stand.
Yeah, cool.
And that's what was under attack yesterday. I didn't agree with a lot of what Charlie Kirk had to say. Yeah, I time dated.
He attacked your religion, like you said.
He attacked my religion in horrible ways. Okay? But I think I showed what I believe. I think I know what my religion taught me. I know the Prophet Muhammad wept even for his enemies. That's a fact. Wept for them. Okay? Because the minute you don't, you've lost humanity.
100%.
You've lost your
Charlie
humanity.
Kirk wasn't out killing people. He wasn't like an evil person. He was just, a podcaster. It'd be different if it was like...
Listen, he may have truly believed what he believes. There are sects of Christianity that believe, no matter what, eyes closed, support Israel, no matter what. There's a lot of that.
He was starting to question Israel a little bit too.
Okay. He was. So what I'm saying is there are sects of Christianity that believe you should no matter what. Okay? But even within our own faiths, Catholics and Protestants killed each other throughout European history. 4 to 8 million.
Sunni and Shiites.
4 to 8 million. Same, exactly. I'm calling it out. I'm being fair. Even Sunni and Shia killed each other. Is that Islam? No. Is that Christianity? Two people claiming to believe in Jesus? And really, how did that start? Because the guy said, I want to get divorced. Catholic Church won't let me. King James Bible came out. But people died because of that, right? So, but both claim to believe in Christ. My point is we can look even within our own faiths and find the hypocrisy. We can find the agenda. We can find the bias. But if we go back to its inception, to the core, we go back to the teachings of our masters, Jesus Christ, peace and blessings be upon him. I cannot say his name without saying that. So forgive me earlier in the episode because I'm a little worked up.
Yeah.
I have to show reverence to him. I have to say peace be upon Abraham, who the Jews hold up the highest, right? And so do Muslims, because that's actually what we're doing when we go to Mecca. We believe we're following the footsteps of Abraham, not Muhammad. We're there to reenact, basically, what Abraham did when he left his wife and child in the middle of the desert. There was nothing there. That's what that whole ceremony, it's not about Muhammad. It's about following the footsteps of Abraham. If we had Abraham and Moses and Jesus and Muhammad at a table right now, they would spit on all of us, bro. They would spit on us. None of us are doing what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah,
None of us are doing what we're supposed to be doing. And we're allowing these people to dictate the narrative and fuel the fire and fuel the hatred. And of course you have radicals, bro.
Yeah.
You have radicals everywhere in every faith. Feminists have radicals. Okay? Every ism has radicalism.
Atheist radicals, for sure.
That's what communism
radicals,
is.
yeah,
okay, my family suffered under Enver Hoxha's regime, the only atheist country in the world. If they found a Bible or a Quran in Albania, they executed you.
That's crazy.
Okay, you had no free speech, no right to bear arms. Okay? My great-grandfather fought against that darkness. He was put into a gulag for over 27 plus years, 28 years. How he survived, I never got to meet him. My grandfather was forced to leave because he's forced him. My grandfather was fighting against the communists too. So somebody's got to get out from our bloodline. Someone has to survive. Coming to America was a dream. My family came through the church. Forgot the organization. My brain's fried. Very reputable association. Okay, even though they're Muslim, it was a Catholic church that saved them. Okay, that's what I'm saying.
They weren't selecting.
But do you see what I'm saying, though?
Yeah, the religions can work together, and they should. And you consider yourself a proud American, I would imagine,
brother. I love this country with all of my heart.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be here today. My family was given a chance. My family started in the Bronx, New York, with nothing. My grandfather died a multi-millionaire, bro.
Yeah, no, there's no other country that you can do that. I mean, maybe there is rare occasions, but in America, there's tons of...
But that dream's disappearing quickly for all of us.
It really is. And that's saying some of us older people don't... I mean, not that we're that older, but like
My
some
whole
of the
family
boomers don't
figured.
understand how hard it is for kids. No, I grew up in poverty, and I have multiple friends that became, millionaires. It's really hard to become a billionaire here, of course.
This
but to
country
become a millionaire is not that hard in America.
In the history of the earth, this country itself, its inception, yes, we have a dark past. A lot of nations do.
Yeah, all nations
But
do.
pulled a majority of humanity above the poverty line. That's a fucking fact.
Yeah.
Good or bad, that's the truth. This country pulled the majority of the world earlier. Now we're doing a horrible job. I mean, there's so many people under the poverty around the world.
It recently has gotten a lot worse.
It's a lot worse now.
Well, inflation got driven up by the COVID lockdowns. Like, you look at prices, it's insane, because you should be able to leave, your wife home to raise your children. And lots of people are in a situation where they can't afford that. That's part of the reason why people, will have kids later, and then they're getting too old to have kids. So there's, not having enough
the
children.
internet's raising our children, bro. The internet is raising our children. We are living in such a perilous time. There's a lot of correlations between the Christian end of time and the Muslim end of time and the Antichrist rising. Okay, like I said, hey, Christians, Muslims, believe in Jesus. Okay, maybe not exactly the same. One believes he was God. Other says no, he wasn't God, but we have to love him. We have to respect him. We believe he was a prophet of God. We have to show him reverence and say peace be upon him every time we mention his name. Both believe he's going to come back. Okay, both believe he's going to be an imposter called the Antichrist, or the Dajjal as the Muslims call it.
Interesting.
Al-Masih
I don't know
ad-Dajjal.
about the Antichrist. That's the belief that he's basically going to come back and try
He's
to
going to
fool
be
the people.
a man who appears when the world is in complete chaos. I believe that time is coming soon. Only God has all wisdom.
It seems like it, unfortunately.
When the world is in complete chaos, or what Christians would probably call Armageddon, and then this person will do miracles that no one else can do. Maybe AI plays into it. He's going to be able to command the sky to rain, based on the Islamic perspective. Christian perspective has the mark of the beast. I think that system's being built. I think that system's crypto, 100%.
Crypto is built on the NSA software.
Yeah, I'm not a master on it. All I know is
I'm not an expert in crypto either, but just NSA built the pre-software that just laid down upon, and that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, but they could have had a backdoor in there.
And I've listened to many. Listen, brother, I've gotten a lot of knowledge from my Christian brothers and sisters too. Like, I've listened to amazing lectures from Christians that really opened my eyes to a lot of different things. Like there's a respect there for anyone that has knowledge and wisdom. Like, when we get to the violent mode, we've lost the message. We've lost our purpose. We're not following. Because why should we show sympathy to another person, even if it's our enemy? Because if we believe in Adam and Eve, which we both do, then that means when someone falls off the path, even if they're the ones killing me, they just sent me to heaven. They just sent themselves to hell. My brother and sister in humanity fell off the path so bad that their heart became like a rock.
Yeah.
And when yours becomes like that, I promise you've lost to the people that want to attack me because I shed a tear like I haven't shed a tear for the people of Gaza or been pushing back against it since what happened, saying this is crazy, this is excessive. You can't just blow up buildings and say, well, that's it. It's just
he's bombed another school.
There's, and like I said, where's the world court? They're saying this guy's a war criminal. Okay, when the Kosovo War ended, right now our former prime minister is at The Hague, accused of crimes. I think it's politically motivated. Why did all of our leaders go? Because we respect the rule of law. I'm very proud of the Albanian people. Former Prime Minister Ramush Haradini, he was accused 2-3 times. He went back and stood in front of the Court of Justice. What does the Court of Justice mean that America's supposed to enforce? If this guy's accused and they ruled on it, he should go stand. And if I was Jewish, I would run away from Netanyahu.
Yeah, no, he's me.
I would run away from him. I would run, and a lot of them have, bro.
Yeah, some have. It's crazy though. He's at the international courts, or they want to try him for war crimes, and instead of doing it, we're going after the international courts.
No, he should go and stand trial and prove what he did. Because what I would say is just like our leaders did. They said we got nothing to hide. We fought a just war. We were the ones being massacred. We'll stand trial. They went. What better place for you to prove it? Okay, you're not doing anything wrong.
Prove your innocence.
Yeah, all this stuff's bullshit. You got the receipts. Go in front of the world court. Clear your own name first. And don't drag the Jewish name down with you too. If I was the Jews, I would hand them up. You got nothing to hide, right? Let him clear his name because he's dragging yours down with it.
No, it's not good. I think, unfortunately, though, I read like 80% of people in Israel are fully for ethnic cleansing. So you're not going to blame all Jews, but unfortunately, there's a large amount of them that have been radicalized. And hopefully something can change with that, because it's not good, and it seems like they have complete control over America through, AIPAC and other means. It's a tough situation. I do feel bad for the Jews that are strongly against it, though, because it is like their whole name is being dragged. Guys like Dave
There's been
Smith.
a lot of that. Jake, what's his name? Jacob, the comedian. He's been like how many flotillas or whatever?
Yeah,
just trying to break the blockade,
Those
supposedly.
guys like Dave Smith, Glenn Greenwald, that are Jewish.
Dave Smith, I mean, you got to, like the guy risking his life too.
No, he could definitely be
Risking his life too.
No, a lot of the Jews.
And you know what's
really
crazy?
hate
Charlie,
him.
the thing about Charlie Kirk had him on, bro. So regardless of how you feel about his stance towards, and again, I don't understand how Turning Point, all that works. Was that his
It
organization?
was his, yeah. And I've actually been to Turning Point events before as like a
Okay.
speaker. I didn't get invited once I started
I'm pretty
criticizing
sure-
Israel, but I was invited before that.
I'm pretty sure that everyone by this point knew where Charlie stands on. I mean, where Dave Smith stands on this.
Oh, yeah.
He had Dave Smith on.
Tucker Carlson's coming back this year, I saw.
he had Tucker.
I wasn't invited back with my views, but that's all right. I don't blame Charlie for that. Charlie always
But
treated me with
aren't
respect.
your views similar to Dave Smith's?
Yes, exactly.
So then why
it
did they
shows
let
that,
you
it
back?
shows that he still is willing to speak. He certainly preferred. He pushed a lot of people out that were anti-Israel, but he would bring a couple in. Like Tucker, I think was scheduled to be. I think there's one scheduled. I don't know if it's still going to happen. Turning Point, but there's one scheduled in a few months. And Tucker Carlson I saw was speaking, and he's been very critical of Israel recently.
Yeah,
so it
I've
showed
seen
that
it,
it showed that Charlie Kirk wasn't 100% pushing it out. He did definitely favor Israel, but there was
You still let him talk though.
Yeah,
you got to give him
still
that. You
talking,
have
exactly.
to give him that.
And he was starting to show a little more like, oh, maybe this is a little more complex. Like recently, there's been some interviews I just saw last night of him questioning Israel.
Who I blame the most for what's happening in the Middle East? The United Nations. They knew what they were doing. If you were going to do two states, you would have done it from the beginning. You didn't. Yeah. You purposely left it like that. The British. That's really who. Again, it's so hard to do, and people get mad. World War II, what the Jews went through. Boom, 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 boom. Remember, my people saved them, bro. I was very proud of that. Everyone wants us dead. Look at what's happened to us. Ba, 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 ba. Of course they're going to get radicalized. They had just experienced crazy trauma, put in concentration camps, whatever happened, right? Of course, you're going to feel like everyone's out to get me. Everybody wants me gone. But who they're targeting their hatred towards, bro, is not justified.
Yeah.
You're literally killing the people that saved you. You're literally killing the people that have saved you throughout history. This is a fact.
Yeah. Before World War II,
People would say, go get the Germans, bro. You know, they almost took Albania instead. They were going to go for Albania instead of Gaza. Did you know that?
I didn't know that. No,
We were on the list of where they would resettle after World War II because of how good we treated them. We were actually on the list. We would have been the Palestinians. I don't know how many Albanians know that. And another thing I found out that broke my heart, they just did a weapons deal, $1.6 billion with Serbia, the people that wiped out my people.
Yeah.
Now imagine, we saved them, and they just did a $1.6 billion deal with Serbia. Cool. But how do you have weapons to sell anyway? Why are we giving? If you have weapons
we're giving
to
them
sell,
weapons and they're selling it. It makes no sense.
So it just, how does that make sense?
It doesn't make any sense. And you also see how they were trying to negotiate the peace in Qatar, and they bombed the peacemakers. Yeah, they're Hamas, but these are the guys literally trying to negotiate a peace deal, and that's who they bombed.
I just, my thing is, I see the way this thing's going. I think the whole world's about to go to war, brother. I that's what we're trying to stop.
Yeah,
I'm not here going, just you, just this. I try to put myself in everyone's shoes. And what am I seeing? Fire everywhere, and the circle for people that are trying to build these bridges between communities. Dave Smith, this one, that one. People that are trying to say, yo, it doesn't have to be like this. What the fuck are we doing? Because ask anyone that's been through war. A lot of you haven't lost 30 people in your family. A lot of you didn't walk out of the World Trade Center like I did. You never want to feel what that feels like. A lot of you never got a phone call, find out your uncle and your cousins are dead. It's easy to be like, yeah, until it comes. Until you're in the middle of a war and it's hell on earth.
Because you've seen how things can slip into a war. So a lot of people don't realize things can, they think, America's
Nobody
fine, but
wins.
Things can slip into a war like this.
We don't win.
No.
Even the guy that pulls the trigger. Yeah, you survived. You're alive. But he will live with that the rest of his life.
Yeah, the guy that killed Charlie Kirk, he'll probably spend the rest of his life in prison. I imagine they'll catch him, I would hope.
I bet you they don't catch shit.
Or they have a patsy.
It's just, it doesn't make any sense, man.
But no, there's evil people trying to push us to the brink of war.
100%.
That's what we need to realize.
You know why? Because too many people are waking up. It's like the scene in The Matrix where Neo's going, too many are, oh shit, everyone's starting to point it out, this and that, and who controls this, and everyone's waking up. There's only one way to cover your tracks. Chaos. Set it all on fire. Drop a fucking nuke. That's the point we're at right now.
And no, some of the people, they generally want World War II, just like, or World War III, I mean. And a lot of it's being driven by Israel and Americans backing. Like they really want to build the third temple, the red heifer. It's pretty wild. Like people truly believe this. And, people high up in American government and Israeli government. It's a little terrifying.
I believe there's extremists in every faith.
Yeah.
I believe that there's definitely, like I said, there's extremists in every religion.
I agree.
You can't force the hand of God. You can't speed up any of this stuff.
They're trying
I don't care what religion you are.
They're trying to force the Armageddon.
Yeah, you can't. I'm going to get raptured because if I support this, it's going to happen. In fact, there's, like I said, different sects, different religions, extremists in all groups. Some have been radicalized because they're radical to begin with. Some became byproducts of all these unjust policies all over the world. I don't justify any extremism ever. I'm trying to avoid war. I'm trying to keep our country together. I'm trying to tell Jews, Muslims, Christians, we're not enemies. We need to operate black, white.
There was a big push of that recently, which some of these conversations need to be have. I think,
and they're very difficult conversations.
So they're difficult conversations. I think the media has overpushed the white being bad, the blacks being good, and they've completely pushed a false narrative. And you have white people angry, rightfully so. But it's also, you need to be careful not to push it to a point of like hatred and a civil war.
Am I not right? I'm starting to see like white lives matter is becoming like a hashtag. Is that correct?
I think so.
Okay, so now you have a pendulum go the other way. So what I'm saying is like both sides now galvanized, primed and ready. Both sides are tired of it. Match. Now when we're killing each other in the streets, God forbid in America, if it erupts into full fucking chaos here, we don't got time to think about a lot of things anymore.
Mm-hmm. No, we don't want that. We got about 10 more minutes before we wrap up. So let's, you have a podcast, right? Why don't you give a little plug for lately, your podcast, what you talk about on it,
so
how you got that going?
Well, Jake, what's so crazy is that since 2019, I started a show called The Comeback Team, which was to do what I always wanted to do, was interview people about their lives. I swear to God, did not want to talk about politics, did not want to talk about religion. I swear to God. Because I knew how divisive it is. I get death threats every day, Jake. Imagine, I'm someone saying we can all get along. Shit.
Yeah, I get that.
Now I know how Dr. King felt. Fuck.
And they killed him.
I started this podcast to inspire people to never give up because of all the tragedies I've been through in my life. War, 9/11, my brother, my older brother, my uncle, but I call him my older brother because he raised me. He died in a car accident. And I finally understood why people give up. Losing someone like him. Like, imagine, I've been through war, I've been through 9/11, but when I lost him, it was like all of that times a million because that's how important he was to me in my life.
Devastating, losing someone close.
And it was the first time I felt like I wanted to give up. If I didn't have faith, I would have died. I wouldn't be here. It was faith that got me through. It was thinking of people like Abraham and Moses and Joseph was one of my favorite people in the Bible and the Quran. I love Joseph. The story of Joseph is one of my most favorite stories. And I believe it was real, not just a story. And, thinking about his life and sold into slavery by his own brother. What else you want to know? Your own brothers threw you down a well. You got sold into slavery. Then you're accused of a crime against your master's wife. Then you're thrown into a prison with the lowest of the low, never did a thing wrong in his life. There's wisdom there. That horrible things can happen to you because it's the test that God put before you. And you have that faith. And what does God do? He takes him from the bottom of that prison and makes him the most powerful person after the king of Egypt. Never surrender, never give up. So I started something called the Comeback Team. I had my first event on October 25th. Is actually the day my brother lost his life.
Wow.
I could have never even talked about him 5 years ago or 7 years ago without just breaking down, brother.
Yeah.
Because when you lose someone like that, just like people are losing people all over the world right now. You know what I mean?
That's why, I feel so for Charlie's wife and kids when people can't see the humanity of that, lose someone close. Like, how can you not at least pray for her?
Once I finally got back up, I wanted to inspire people to never give up. So when I was doing a lot of these things, in the beginning, I had no followers, no attention, nothing. I was just an asshole with a microphone. Shout out to Arthur Nascarello, Carlo from The Sopranos. If it wasn't for him, I probably would have gave up. He decided to be my co-host for my first season. Nobody even knew me. And I get my first message. Very little followers. I was going to take my life last night, but I saw your podcast. And that's what kept me going.
That must have been like, wow, I'm
never stopping.
Actually am.
I'm never stopping. As my book says, as many holy books say, to save one life is to save all of humanity. And to take one life is as if you killed the whole world. And then 2019 happened. They started playing their games. The enemies of all of humanity shut us down. And then I went into nothing matters anymore. The U.S. Constitution not being forced
Yeah, I was
free
curious
speech,
your thoughts on that.
not
Sounds
being
like you had
allowed.
my views on
I
that.
fought with everything I had in New York City. I was an outsider in my own city overnight because I refused to let them tell me what I put in my body and what I can't put in my
It
body.
was so crazy. I lived in San Francisco, and like I wasn't into politics for that. They
Shit, you were in another-
radicalized me. I had no choice. I'm not going to take trying to force me to take a vaccine.
Thank
and
God
wear a
I didn't.
mask.
Thank God I stopped so many. I can't tell him people
Yeah.
I met. I swear to God, I'm not lying. I wish I listened to you.
I hear the same.
I
Some
did
people-
this.
So when people say they're
I've never
anti-vaccine,
been the same. Yes, man. Yes, it's true. I'm not making this shit up.
No, it's 100%.
That was
true.
fishy to me. And I already had the sickness twice and got over it, right? And it
Yeah,
wasn't
and they still
it
wanted
wasn't
you to
fun.
take it, yeah.
Okay? We still don't have justice for that. My good friend lost his son. I won't mention his name. I lost my cousins in the first week of when it came out. You know, I'm avoiding words for a second. When the sickness came out, my cousin Agran, rest his soul, Izet, my friend that owned Two Star, God rest his soul. I lost like 10 people in the first 2 weeks. I took it very serious. That's why I get offended. I pulled my kids out of school when it was on the shores of Italy, not even in America. And when they were fighting for toilet paper, I bugged out because I am a prepper. I do believe in chaos and being prepared, but I've also learned that from things like Hurricane Sandy. I experienced Sandy in New York, man. We were about to kill each other over gas, brother. We're all on the brink. One major event, no food, no water, no electricity. We live in a very dangerous time. You must build your ark, as the Christians love to say. Build your ark, put on the armor of God. I love that quote from Christians. Because at the end of the day, nothing's going to save you but God. When your time comes, Charlie didn't know he was going to die yesterday.
Yeah.
You got to be prepared to meet your maker. You got to be on good terms.
Anytime, exactly. That's where you have to live. Like every day is your last.
So I was forced into this role. And then being through all these things myself and going through that evolution of having blind hatred for another race because of what happened to my people, very similar to the way an Israeli would view a Palestinian. Pure hatred,
Yeah.
right? But I understand it because I lived it.
Yeah. You had that
And then
hate
I
in your heart
came
at one
over.
point.
And even my people get mad at me. How could you? Because they would never show. I still get that threats from them too. I said, because I'm not going to be like the people who killed my family. That's why. I'm not going to be like those extremists. And I met amazing Serbians like Andre. I won't mention his last name because he'll get hatred for it too. He's like, brother, I didn't agree with what was going on. I realized what happened in Bosnia. They tried to draft me into the military and I didn't go. I came to America as a political asylee. How am I going to hate that guy? I didn't agree with Iraq.
Yeah.
I was so against it.
Same.
Okay, I didn't like Saddam at all, but we propped him up. Donald Rumsfeld. He was used like the mafia until the hitman. You don't need the hitman no more. Then you get rid of the hitman. I didn't agree with the way he treated his people. I didn't agree with what he did to the Kurds. Gassed them. But 1 million people died in his aftermath. And what? My cousin fought over there for America to train the Iraqi police. Okay, that's why he was there. That was his mission. And what? That's why I tell the Iraqis, I tell all the people around, don't hate Americans, man. We don't all agree with what's...
I didn't want the war. Exactly.
Yes, so how can you hate me? I was standing with you saying this is wrong.
Yeah,
I
was protesting on the streets.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's why I tell people of the world, please don't hate American people. I love my American people, bro. A lot of them just really
So many
don't
good
realize
people
how
there, yeah.
deep it goes, Jake. How
No,
deep
I
this
agree. Mostly great
brainwash.
people. There's some just brainwashed.
They just don't know. And some of them are scared and they see the movies, Allahu Akbar, Allah, they're coming. How can I be mad at them? It's not their fault.
You know, they've been propagandized.
It's not their fault. They're told every day that I'm coming to kill them and I'm going to, but again, like we said about the UK, I don't blame them.
Well, like you said right away when I asked you about that, you're like, kill the rape
Bro.
games. You didn't have to think about it. It wasn't
But
like a complex.
That's Muslim law.
Yeah, that should be. There are some guys that'll try to excuse it and shit though, which is disgusting. But that for you, that was an easy
Well, that's
answer.
because you have it pushed that the Prophet Muhammad was a pedophile, completely out of context. His wife was around 9. Bro, just real quick, because I want to hit this subject.
Yeah.
This is the number one tool they use.
Yeah, I hear that all the time.
No, okay. 9, not 9. First of all, I promise you, she didn't even know her own age. My grandmother died not even 20 years ago. She didn't know her own age. They didn't celebrate birthdays in pre-Islamic Arabia. So how would you even know how old you are? They didn't even celebrate birthdays.
Yeah.
They didn't keep accurate records. Okay? What do we know? The facts. Some scholars have her at 16 to 18. Okay? No one knows for sure. What do we know that's important? Based on the whole world, when a woman hit puberty,
That's
her
really
biological clock proved she had her menstrual cycle. She's now of the age of marriage. She was engaged before him.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, his first wife was what? 20 years older than him.
Wow.
Okay? Number three, what? We know for a fact she was past what was considered biologically a woman. I don't know the
she's
age.
in puberty,
Doesn't matter if she wrote 8 or 9. She's considered the mother of the believers. She wrote half the history of Islam. She was a leader in battles. No one ever brought up her age or any of that stuff. Whatever they did was normal. But let's look at 100 years ago in Delaware. No wonder Joe Biden's from there.
Things have changed.
7 years old. I don't think that's right. No. Why do people have bar mitzvahs? Because at 13, you would tell people, I am of age of marriage. Mm-hmm. They use this narration to create Islamophobia when, if we're being real, and I dare the audience to look, Islam was the first religion, not Christianity, not Judaism, that said women have certain rights. This is a fact of history. The right to own land. Arranged marriage, forced, not allowed. People still do it to this day. Even in Albania, people got engaged before they were born, bro. Of all sides, Christian, Muslim, it was the way of the world. Islam said 1400 years ago, a woman cannot be forced to marry someone she doesn't want. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Yeah. No,
so the narration
so
they
part
paint.
Of the religion. Some cultures push it, but it's not in the religion.
A woman shouldn't be forced to cover. If she chooses, that's on her. That's on her. No compulsion in religion. Chapter 2 of the Holy Quran. For what? Dressing like the Virgin Mary? You hate these women? They dress like the Virgin Mary. So you hate them. Now, should they be forced? Mm-mm. If they're being forced,
but if they choose
it
to,
defeats
they
the
should
purpose.
have a right to choose to. Exactly.
Why do you hate them? Because they're dressing like the Virgin Mary?
Who are we to tell other cultures what they're thinking? Like we push trannies and like gay pride.
But here's my thing, though. These same groups, though, that want to use that 1400 years ago world won't call out what's been going on for the last 50, 60, 70 years within their own religions, bro. Mm-hmm. They won't call out the teachers. Every week is a new one. Every week is another nice American teacher doing some nice favors with some young boys. They won't call that out, though. Mm-hmm. You got to worry about the pedophiles in your own house. Our law says you do that, dead. Executed. And it should be. They should bring back corporal
sometimes
punishment.
they have these public executions in Afghanistan, and I saw our media freaking out, but then I look, the guy like raped some kids. It's like, okay, that's not that bad.
It's beautiful. If that's why.
A couple more super chats real quick. As a Muslim, I love Jesus. Okay, there. So
it's true, man.
Yeah, right?
He should be united. I'm not saying...
Thank you, someone not being negative.
I'm saying we don't have to agree on doctrine. Even within our own faith, we don't agree on doctrine. That's not why we should be killing each other. Let's take the good. Have compassion. Have empathy. Realize that you're not enemies. God is the one that's going to judge all of us. Not a single one of us is going to escape his judgment.
This guy says, listen to the song Islamophobia by Genocide Rap. He's a Bosnian refugee, and the music helped me a lot when I dove down that rabbit hole years ago.
Shout out to the Bosnians, man.
Yeah, not sure who that is, but okay.
Great people, bro.
So yeah, I think that's all the super chats. Anything you want to wrap a couple minutes? Anything you want to hit real quick before to close? Where
Jake,
can we find all that?
You can find me at Bek Lover. That's Bek with no C. Bek Lover, NYC on Instagram, on TikTok, on X. You could also go to beklover.com. That's B like boy, E like Edward, K like Kimberly, beklover.com. But I'm also working with Sonny Faz, great content creator. Started doing because I'm tired of, but I swear to God, I never went into it for this. Now I'm doing reaction videos. He's got like 600,000 subs. And we just pull up stuff and laugh. And I'm trying to have some fun, bro. Yeah. Like I'm fatigued. I got battle fatigue.
Yeah, sometimes I'm like, all right, I need to do some fun stuff. Like the politics I
would like to come back and do an episode about demons and aliens with you.
No, I'm actually interested in this kind of stuff.
I've been on Danny Jones' podcast 3 times. Julian Dory.
I'm down to talk about that because that's something I used to think was absolutely crazy.
It ties into Christianity, Islam.
All these different societies have always had something they believed in. It could be an alien, a demon,
the Anunnaki.
A gnome. There's always something. So that's when I started being like, okay, there's got to be something here.
But there's a new age agenda. Mm-hmm. I truly believe there's a new age movement to push this philosophy that we were created by aliens and not God.
Yeah.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was not to convince the world he doesn't exist. Was to convince the world he's an alien.
Interesting. Well, hey, thanks so much. And,
Jake, I appreciate you.
I can have that conversation.
I know you're in a very difficult position. I know people want to paint you a certain way. I know you would give a microphone to anyone.
Yeah,
I would say even people that are completely against you. I think that needs to happen. I would have went on Charlie Kirk's show.
I'm a big fan of talking to people with completely different ideologies. I've had black nationalists on. I've had white nationalists. They call me a white nationalist, but then I have a black nationalist and a communist on. It's just like...
You can't win as a content creator. These people, they think this is easy. Our lives are in danger. We try to give people a chance to speak and talk and whatever. People told me you should be careful. You go on there because they have him labeled like that. No, because nothing gets fixed like that.
No, we have to be able
to sit down like 2 brothers and put it all on the table and maybe there's even a bigger panel, and we say this. How can we fix? We can't figure this out in 2025. We can't figure this out in 2025 that the world doesn't need to be like this.
And even if someone is hateful, maybe you sit back and talk to them, and you
maybe they have trauma that made them like that.
A little bit of love in their heart, or a little bit different.
Maybe
thoughts,
trauma made them like that. I even understand, bro. Even from the Jewish perspective, I understand. But I know it sounds sick. You get treated a certain way, you're going to become radicalized.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Look in the mirror.
There's been days where I've seen too many children die, and
you know how many times I cried watching Schindler's List, bro? Dude, I'm not going to sit here. You know how many times I cried watching Schindler's List, dude? But why hasn't there been a movie about what the Albanians did in the Holocaust? How come imagine the one people that saved every Jew don't have a single film from Hollywood?
Because who runs Hollywood?
Because it goes against the agenda, showing Muslims and Christians saving Jews.
Yeah, they don't want that agenda. Well, thanks so much, brother.
Jake, pleasure.
We'll come back and have another conversation.
God bless you. Respect.